First of all, my name is Mina Nasif, and I'm working as a managing director with the AFP in the Middle East. My mission is to help financial professionals to be better in the job they want and guide them how to build capacity when it comes to corporate treasury and financial fields. I've been working with the AFP since 2017, starting my career early in 2006 in Algeria with El Swedi Cables, known in Saudi Arabia with Jeddah Cables Limited Liability Company. And then I fly to United Kingdom. I've been living in London for like 3 years. I've been working as assistant treasurer for a gold mining company, then fly back to my home country in Egypt as assistant treasurer for Coca-Cola Egypt for like 3 years. I've been through another construction company for like 1 year. It's called Orascom. I appreciate if our operation team can help the gentleman Yahya if there is a trouble in his sound. And I also would like to make sure that you can hear me well. So if my voice is so clear, please write down number 1 in our chat box. Do you hear me well? Just write me down. Thank you, Riza, Muhammad, and other ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. All right. So I was briefing you about my background. Getting back to Egypt for a construction company. It's called Orascom Construction for like a very short time, like a year or less. And then fly to Saudi Arabia. I've been group treasury manager for a gold mining company. It's called Al Jahaz Holding. And then I went back to Egypt for like 4 years as a group corporate treasurer for the largest private sector energy company. It's called Taka Arabia Citadel Holding. At 2017, that was my last practitioner corporate title as a treasurer, and I phased out. Then I focused to be corporate treasury practitioner and instructor for the CTP. Since 2006, I used to teach CTP in several places, starting from China with Lidgewood, American Chamber and Beacon in Egypt. I've been also with the AFP between Saudi Arabia and other Arabic-speaking countries, once a time in the United States. So that's all. This the 8th year as a participant to the academic committee of the AFP, which are 300 practitioners responsible to develop the content and develop question for the exam. So that's all about what I'm doing for a living now. As an intro and briefing you about the AFP, or the Association for Financial Professionals, it's a not-for-profit organization, was established 1979 in Bethesda, Washington, D.C., which is the capital, of course. And they are the accreditation body for 2 globally recognized certification. The first one covering the corporate treasury, which is the CTP, our top of the town now. And the other one regard the FP&A, which are the financial planning and analysis. The other certification called FPAC, or Certified Corporate Financial Planning and Analysis Professional. So that's about the AFP. The CTP as a globally recognized certification program. It's called the Center of Excellence in Corporate Treasury Management, which is the highest and the best corporate treasury credential globally now. It's a 1-part exam, very mature, and previously the CTP was called CCM, or a Certified Cash Manager, but at 1991, the AFP decided to call it Certified Treasury Professional. I appreciate if you do not touch my annuity tool. Thank you. My presentation today will goes for like 1 year, a 1 hour or less, hopefully. And I will start to drive you through the CTP content. I would like to start to ask you a question about what is the difference between corporate treasury and banking treasury. You can use raise hand tool so you can open your mic then. What is the main difference between corporate treasury and banking treasury? Anyone would like to guess, think? What is the difference between banking treasury and corporate treasury? Or if I may change my question for a multiple choice one, do you think that corporate treasury is a profit center or a cost center? And by the way, you can vote it in our chat box. Corporate treasury, is it a profit center or a cost center? Yahya, profit. Abdul Rahman, cost. Khalil, cost. Ihab, cost. All right, so Riza also cost. So, Yahya, if I may ask you to open your mic, I just want to ask you about your selection, profit. Would you open your mic, please? Hello, Yahya. Not allowed. Oh, wow. Our operation team, please, would you allow Yahya to open?
I sent you notification, Yahya. Please accept it.
Yeah, now I think you can hear me now.
Yes, I got you well.
With regard to your earlier question, is it the profit center or cost center, or what is the difference between corporate treasury or the other side? I think the corporate treasury is more related to sales and making profit, and the other one is related to interbank pricing, which is related to growth.
Yes, so if you think that I tied a deposit with the bank and they grant me a credit interest, do you think this is a profit for us? Hello? All right. So, the main question, is it a cost center or profit center? Most of people think that corporate treasury is they are allowed to make a profit from using cash surplus, so they are a profit center. And my surprisingly answer will be no. The corporate treasury, even they make a lot of profit from the money market and capital market when they are investing the surplus, they won't be a profit center, because simply the profit center of any business are the salesperson. And accounting wise, if you can see the chart of accounts, there will be two classes there between all of your accounts. The salespeople are a profit center, and any other department inside your company will be counted as a cost center, even they are making some profits. And also, when it comes to accounting standards, you cannot recognize the profit generated from treasury activity to your operating profit, and we just record this transaction to other income. And if you are applying another standard like the GAAP, which is the American standard, they have something called a comprehensive income statement. This statement is designed especially for not operating profit, or the profit came from other than item away of the business operation. So the corporate treasury are a pure cost center, while the dealing room, the treasury inside the bank, are a people to make the profit because they are selling us a banking or a finance product. So chapter 1 is like an overview about corporate treasury and difference between treasury inside the banks and corporate treasury or banking treasury inside banking function. That was number 1. Number 2, we are representing the buy side in the companies, and of course, the banks representing the sell side. So most of the time, you are living in the cost side. You pay them for credit product or loan or whatever product you're getting for them. On the other side, they charge us with a dividend interest like a rate, whatever the rate is. So that was a very, I think you can get this presentation recorded as long as you are attending. That was the appetizer of our main course or main dish today. If you can see, we have like 5 main domains, and the main course or the main chapters here are the connected one, which are domain 2, 3, and 4. Domain 1 connected chapters are payment system, which cover the payment tools, starting from the paper-based payment like checks, moving to digital payment like wire transfer, automated clearinghouse, SHIPS, and of course, debit and credit card. So if I may ask another question, which is, what is the difference between wire transfer and SWIFT? What is the difference between wire transfer and SWIFT? You can use the raising hand tool, and I'm encouraging you to say, what do you think? Disclosing your knowledge is something that helps you to validate if is this right or wrong. And in my humble opinion, there is no right and wrong here. So don't feel embarrassed. I'm encouraging you to say whatever you think. So once more, my question is the difference between SWIFT and wire transfer. They might be the same thing. So if you believe that they are the same thing, just let me know. All right. So there is a raising hand tool to use if you would like to use. If I may, I cannot catch the chat. I would like you to open the mic, speak, vent, and raise it. Please, Muhammad, Naveed, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Muhammad. Actually, I think wire transfer is like local transfers, and SWIFT is required for the international transfers, if I'm not wrong.
That's a good guessing, but unfortunately, that's not accurate. Who would like to try else? Thank you, Muhammad. Difference between wire transfer and SWIFT.
Hi everyone, can I try?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. Wire, I think like we call this manual, like one manual payment. Can we say manual payment? That's what I think you can use it only through P2P or other options.
Thank you, Ahmed, for the try. All right, so there's something near to Muhammad Naveed who just say the same. Who else who would like to try more? Difference between wire transfer and SWIFT. All right. So Yahya would like to raise some. Please go ahead.
I believe both are the same.
They are the same. All right. Yes. So thank you for the participating. Surprisingly, there is a huge, big difference between SWIFT and wire transfer. So I will start with, what is the SWIFT? The SWIFT, or the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, is a communication system that all banks, almost all banks from all over the world, are a participant in this telecommunication system. So it's not a wire transfer system by any means, and even does not relate it to wire transfer. But a lot of people are mixing the concept because it's used to be an expression in the market to send me the SWIFT. People think that it means the SWIFT is the same as the transfer. But the SWIFT are used widely as an authenticated telephone system, a communication system. You can open letter of credit through SWIFT. You can accept discrepancies through SWIFT. You can amend a letter of credit through SWIFT. I am talking about message type 700, 707, 750. You can inform me about the balance of your account through message type 940, and the movement between accounts 941, and of course the whole statement with message type number 942. I can grant signature verification through SWIFT, or even send you a message with I love you through SWIFT. So the SWIFT is a telephoning and communication system that banks use to transmit secure messages, but this is not the transfer itself. You can use the SWIFT locally, you can use the SWIFT internationally, as long as you are charged to use. All right? So a lot of information and eye-opener data about the payment tools are inside. Up to, we will discuss how the credit card was originally started, and what is the beginning, who is Visa, who is MasterCard. And by the way, the first credit card was issued by Bank of America. That was 1949. Up to, you will be learned in chapter 12 how to sculpt, design your special corporate product with the GTP inside the bank, which are Global Transaction Banking Team or the Cash Management Product Team. In chapter 14, we will learn how to do a cash forecasting. So once more, I would like to ask your vote in our chat box about, do you think cash forecasting is an art or it is a science? Cash forecasting, is it an art or a science? And please just vote for a one choice. You cannot gather both. So I would like to see both. Science, art. Let me count how many art and science here. Wow. 2, 3, 1 art. Reza, you're still battling between science and art. Arts. All right. Okay. So if I told you that accounting is a science, because there is a specific standard to apply accounting. Not all the financial profession have a kind of standard, like budget and planning, like forecasting. There is no right and wrong about cash forecasting, so simply we don't have a standard to do forecasting. I understand there is a global concept from having a short-term forecast, medium-term forecast, long-term forecast. That's a kind of best practices. So forecasting, unfortunately, although it's a very important topic and crucial for finance, it is still an art more than a science. And this chapter specifically is attached and included to a practical workshop on Excel, because forecasting is not a raw science that I can tell you about. We have to practice some forecasting templates. It's like learning you how to drive a car. If I spend the next 10 years on Zoom speaking to you about driving cars, you won't be able to be a good driver, because we have to jump in the car and start to move its mechanics to learn how it works. So teaching you cash forecasting theoretically is not effective. So this session is split into two sessions. A part of the session will be for the curriculum of the CTP, and the other part will cover the practical side or the application on real life. So you will learn how to do a daily cash position, a weekly cash projection, and of course an annual cash plan. Hopefully we have a time to go through a 5-year financial model. How does it look alike? And then we will go for chapter 17, which are financial risk management. So if I may ask you about the recipes of financial risk, what do you think the financial risk component? What is the financial risk? What is its component? I'm welcoming raising hands. What is the financial risk? Sandeep, please go ahead, my dear.
Hi, I am Sandeep. Financial risk is maybe currency risk or interest risk.
I didn't get that. Would you repeat it for me, please?
Financial risk, it's include currency risk and interest risk.
Currency,
And income.
currency, which is the FX rate.
Yeah.
What else? The
Interest.
interest.
Yes.
Would you like to add some?
Interest, maybe it will be loan interest. So it will be maybe every month it will be variable. So that will be risk. Every month it will be fluctuate.
Okay, my friends.
Yeah.
The whole interest exposure on the universe. What else regardless the interest? Liquidity risk? No. Inflation? So you told me about the FX rates and the interest. Thank you, my friend. Zainab, please go ahead, my dear.
Hello. The third one is credit risk.
Credit risk? The credit risk is a kind of default risk, which is not a part of a financial risk. What is the financial risk component? Cash in the bank? That's a good problem. I wish to have a good problem like this one. Market condition and market movements? No, that's called a market risk. I have a bad news for my friends here. Neither the FX rate, nor the interest rate, or even the commodity prices, which is the third factor, are a financial risk. So what is the financial risk actually? The financial risk is the uncertainty surrounding the future levels of foreign exchange, interest rate, and of course, the commodity prices. So the FX rate is not a risk in its origin, but I do not know what is the future level. If it's going up, if it's going down. So this is the risk. So I'm more concerned with the future levels of these three main components. You know what I mean? And we will learn how to manage this three exposure by applying a derivatives and hedging product, which is near to insurance. We have a main four family, which are forward, future, swap, and of course, options contract. So by doing so, you are done with the main two. Now let's move for the next chapters. And I want to ask you about what is the capital component and what is the working capital component? What is the difference between working capital and capital when it comes to recipe or the component inside? What is the difference between capital and working capital? Zainab, please go ahead.
Working capital are the funds required to run the daily operations of the company.
Once more.
Working capital are the funds required to run the daily operations of the company.
Which are current assets and current liabilities. And that's an amazing answer. So what is the capital? What is the capital? I have a new hand here. Osama Ruby, please go ahead, my friend.
Yes, hello, I am Usama. Capital is the investment itself, whether it whether it is in the shares or whatever type of investment itself.
Hold on. That's an amazing one. The shares, which is the equity side, you mean, right?
The equity.
Yes.
So whatever investment is the capital itself.
That's an amazing answer. And I just need to raise that we have a two situation for the capital. The first one is to be paid 100% from the equity side, which is represented by the shares. And the other side, or the other option to have a capital, is a mix between the loans or equity. Yes, exactly. It could be a loan, it could be issuing a bond, or whatever that resource.
Whatever type of
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm calling this source of fund. And if you read carefully your financial statement, your auditor usually refer to debt and equity as a source of fund.
Yes.
So what is the use of fund? The use of fund are the assets that you are acquiring. So you either finance asset acquisition through equity, like 100%, or to have a mix between debt and equity. Thank you so much, Osama, my friend, for telling me about this. So getting back to the main number 3, which is the working capital, I call it the business blood cycle. Managing a very good working capital is like a very healthy person who usually used to go for the gym, running, playing sport, so he will be in a very fit situation. But if you have a big belly like myself, you will feel pain if you need to run or even going up with the stairs. So if you have something wrong when it comes to collection, payment, managing your working capital, your inventory element, that's mean you have a kind of working capital inefficiency. But if it went well, that's mean you are so fat to manage your working capital. So each time you have a deficit or surplus from working capital management, we will go for the financial market to fill the gap by borrowing from the money market if we are financing our working capital, or even borrowing from chapter 6, which is the capital market, if we are going to finance our capital expenditure needs, or we call it CapEx finance. So that's all about domains 3. Where are chapter 10, 11, 5, 13? Usually people asking me, Mina, why you are not following a logical base sequence like 1, 2, 3, 4? I'm gonna reply by saying that exam question is little bit complicated and you need to connect some chapter to each other. So the money market, for example, which is number 5 here, can you see this chapter? Hold on. This one. If you can see chapter 5, it illustrates and represent a 6 type of money market product, which are commercial paper, asset-backed commercial paper, banking obligation, float rate note, governmental paper like treasury bills, and repurchase agreement. How to buy and sell this contract? that's applied on a formula base in chapter 13. So what I'm trying to do is to connect chapter 13, which is the application, to what's happening or what we studied in chapter 5. So it's look more logical for me when it comes to exam preparation. If you would like to solve the sophisticated questions that need to connect more than one chapter to another. Jumping to domain 4, which represent the long-term exposure in our course. So capital market would be chapter 5, how to deal with capital market, which is long-term investment, long-term borrowing, or having a corporate finance, project finance exposure that will be discussed in chapter 19. And then we will study chapter 9, which is the FP&A or the budget and planning side. We have more than 40 financial analysis formula, like financial leverage ratio, debt service coverage ratio, profitability ratio, which are the gross profit margin, operating margin, net profit margin calculation. And of course, we have sensitivity and scenario analysis. And of course, we will learn how to evaluate and calculate the IRR or the internal rate of return. And finally, chapter 20, which representing the, what we call it, representing the holistic strategic overview for planning that the treasurers do with the CFOs inside the company, like building the capital, how we will secure capital finance for our company, and how the company will look like after 5 years from now. So this is a very strategic chapter, and you need to go through like 11 chapters before being able to understand this one. So I can describe this 12 chapter as our main dish or our main course, and they are the core of your certification content. By doing so, you will be in a very good position to understand the other topic. And the other 7 remaining topic, which are domain 1 and domain 5, are a standalone chapter that usually the exam sitter asking a very direct and very easy standalone question about it, like chapter 2 representing difference between the federal banking system, central banking system. For example, in the United States or the United Arab Emirates, they are applying what we call it a federal union banking system. So each Emara or state are applying their own rules and regulation in banking sector, and they are governed by a central or a federal bank. But in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia, in other countries, there is a central banking system. So there is a central bank that regulating other banks. So it's a one territory, not several territories. The difference is so big here. Chapter 3 representing the different type of banks, like commercial banks, investment banks, agriculture banks, and of course, industrial banks. Chapter 7 is a very crucial chapter to this profession, which representing the right way to manage relationship with banks, how to select a bank to work with, and of course, how to evaluate bank performance, even on a qualitative basis when it comes to relation, and of course, on a quantitative basis by using scorecards. Sorry. Chapter 8, representing the difference between GAAP and IFRS when you applying some accounting principle like IFRS 39 or IFRS 9 with the bank. That's a very tiny chapter, and we will discuss how to evaluate on accounting base, of course, your treasury portfolio investment papers. Finally, domain number 5, which represent the operational and enterprise risk, some risk that you guys just mentioned when I asked you about the financial one, is a part of enterprise risk management, like business operational risk, investment risk, default risk, which is a credit risk, of course, and up to the force majeure or business interruption risk. Chapter 19, bar main chapter 18, will learn you how to set a corporate treasury policy and procedures, how to set your KPI and evaluate a team. And finally, chapter 15 will cover and represent IT, digital transformation, financial technology, corporate treasury tool like treasury management system, how to select and apply, what is the history of the banking products. So this is an holistic overview about the course content. If you guys would like to ask about a specific piece of content to make sure that it is inside, just listed on our chat box. I have a question incoming from Yahya, says capital is an asset. Capital is not an asset at all. It is a use of capital. I can describe the asset as a use of capital because you want to get an asset unless you are burning a capital, paying a capital to get an asset. So the asset is not a capital. It is a kind of use, a kind of moving the capital to be asset. So simply, when you're acquiring a machine, if you are going to pay for this, you will use it from your capital. And working capital is to run the business. Definitely, yes, I aligned and agree. All right. Thank you guys for this contribution. Hold on. So, how the exam looks like? The CTP, Sandeep, I will answer such question at the end. So let me complete my presentation, and then definitely I will allow a slot for questions, any other question. The CTP exam question is a challenging one. The global passing rate is between 42% and 55%. Once more, the global passing rate of the CTP course is 42% up to 55%. That's mean 4 or 5% of each 10 examinee are passing from the first attempt. So don't expect an easy exam. That's a complicated one, which I encourage you to prepare well to set 2. The exam duration is 3 hours and 30 minutes, almost 210 minutes, which is 12,600 seconds. If you divide this number to 170 questions, that's mean you have a chance of 74 seconds to answer a question. The good news is the whole exam are a multiple choice exam. We don't have any articulated or an essay question by any means. And that's why the CTP exam result is announced the same time you complete your exam. So you will be able to know if you pass or not the same time, the same exact time you are sitting for the exam. There are 5,000 testing centers all over the globe. You can sit to the CTP exam, and the exam window is a 2 window per year. The first window started from the 1st of June until the end of July. You have a 60-day to do the exam. The other window is window B, which starts from the 1st of December until the end of January of each year. During each examination window, you just have only one chance to sit to the exam. In other words, if you did fail to pass, you have to wait until the coming window, which is after 6 months from taking your exam. All right. The recent curriculum is the 7th curriculum, and the curriculum is continuously updated each 3 years. Our current curriculum is just released 6 months back. So we have like 2 years and 6 months we'll study this curriculum with no updates at all. And I have to refer that the updates is not a major one. We're just trying to keep this curriculum is up to date and relevant to what's happening in the market, because corporate treasury function is very relative to technological changes. For example, no one of us can expect what does your mobile is gonna do in corporate treasury. I can remember well, 15 years back, I've been asking my bank to print out the bank statement on a paper for me. Now, I'm just using my cellular phone to move funds between my account from Dubai to anywhere else. So, to keep this certification program precious and valid, the AFP is updating such product each 3 years. So this content is valid up to the end of 2026. So how many questions I need to solve to be able to pass the CTP exam? The maximum score is 650 points, and you need to collect 300 points to be able to pass the exam. So how does AFP develop the CTP exam process? If you can imagine, we have 5 classes for exam question. They are all multiple choice, but there is a question with a 1 point, a question with a 2 point, another question with a 3 point, 4 point, and of course, we have a question for 5 points. While you are solving the question, you won't be able to understand how many points for this question. And that's mean if Muhammad, my friend, solve a 100 question of 170, he could pass the exam, while another person did solve a 120 question, but he did not pass. Because the 100 question of Muhammad succeed to collect 300 points, and my 120 question did not succeed to collect the 300 points. So it's not about how many questions you are solving, it's about collecting the minimum cut score, which is 300 of 650. So this process does not have any human intervention, and it's a 100% computer-based exam. That's why we've been able as an AFP to announce the result immediately. And the second point is, although the whole exam is a multiple choice question, but there are 4 types of this multiple choice. The first easy one is close the question, like asking you, what is the usual color for stop sign? This is a pure question mechanism and structure. It will start with a question 2, like what, when, where, and it ends up with a question marks, like the question marks you say. The other easy one is open question, which is a sentence, like a period of time of 60 minutes is called an, and you just need to complete the right answer here. So it's a sentence, and usually these 2 questions are a 1 point or a 2 point question. Let's complicate it a little bit more. If you can go for the third type, which are the exact questions. These exact questions are a little bit sophisticated and usually will be counted for 3, 4, or 5 points. It's something like all of the following are true about ice cream are except. So if we have an except and true, that means the opposite. Another time, most likely, least likely. All of the following are false except. So using except or most likely and least likely, little bit to change the meanings here. So you have to take care of these questions. And the most sophisticated type of multiple question are the item sets question. The item sets question starts with granting you list of data or a piece of content like storytelling, and it starts to ask you several questions about this sentence or this data. So this is complicated one, although it is still a multiple choice one. A pure question that people asking me, does it a challenging exam? I have to say yes, and I call this the difficulty matrix of the exam question. Between 33 to 37 of your exam question is based on basic facts. You do not need to memorize. You just need to understand what the curriculum says. Between 38 to 42, question will test the understanding of the main concept. Between 23 to 27, which is like 0.3 almost or less, 1 to 3 of the exam question will be like math question, like formulas or calculation scenarios. So that's a very actually encouraging percentage for me. 23% of your exam would be numerical. That's okay for me. And what about the genius people? We never drop the genius people of our list. So we have like 10% or 15% for the genius people. That's very sophisticated questions. So if I need to collect 300 points of 650 points, I think your mission is not complicated to pass. But I have to admit, it is a little bit challenging when it comes to managing the time for this rough exam. Finally, the resources where to study for the CTP exam. We have the very famous platform that the AFP launched, which is the official study tool for the CTP. We call it AFP Learn. The beauty of this digital platform that it gathers 900 exam questions that helps you to simulate how the exam looks like. The bad side, frankly speaking, which is the AFP does not allow you to print out this curriculum. And they are an environment green friendly to this planet. So they are using this on a digital platform. So you will have like a video for like 30 minutes or less representing what does the course cover during this chapter. And our classes will be much widely covering the content here of this 12-minute session. And how I will be able to study and read. After each session, you need to go for the curriculum here and read and study well. All right? Once you are done with the learning content here, you have to go down there and launch the test. This quizzing system, like 7 or 8 questions per each learning byte, will help you to validate if you're understanding well the content or not, and at the same time prepare you for taking the exam. So I have a question here. Let's try one. What type of bank provides banking service to a country government and banking sector? I think I have studied hard to solve this question right. So each question, if you solve it right, there will be reasoning, or I call it narration, a kind of explanation why the answer is right here. And you can flip the other question, answer it. This is wrong question, and this is the reason why your answer is wrong. All right? By doing so, you will get comfort and very appealing to sit to the exam. And of course, there is an additional resources that's super resources actually, like solving retired practice exam. Sorry. The retired practice exam is exam question that's retired. It won't appear anymore. But it is still very precious to us to solve. If you can see allocated 210 minutes here, that's a countdown, which is our ticking clock during the course. And there is a calculator here also to use. And of course, 170 question, you can solve it the same way I just showed you. And now there is no explanation because it's like simulating the exam, how look alike. All right. So getting back to the resources, we have some case studies also to simulate your exam exposure. And of course, there is a flashcard, which is very precious to me. So this is the whole definition of the course. It's a lot more than maybe 500 flashcards. Can you see that? What does capital mean? What does cash position mean? Bar value, pension plan, security exchange versus the American stock market. All the abbreviations that you can find inside the curriculum for your prints out. And of course, there will be formula flashcards. That's the whole formula during the course. This is the earning credits. I have here the present value, capital asset pricing model, WACC, economic value added, net present value, break-even point, degree of leverage, and a lot of formula here. All right, so it's very practical into market content. All right, and this is a case study. We have like a 5 case study. I have to admit, it is continuously improved, and the AFP are updating this question bank every 6 months. So this about your resource to study. So your sequence is to attend the session, understand the session, go back, read and solve, attend the next session. And of course, we will allow like 15 to 20 minutes to ask if you have a question and if you have something you would like to vent about or even to discuss. All right, getting back to quickly to my presentation here. And I'm done. Opening the floor for question. I have a question here. What is the success rate for self-study candidates? I cannot announce a rate because I'm a trainer. I don't know if people can pass or not, or what is the percentage for people who pass individually. Frankly speaking, I don't know one who pass individually, maybe 1 or 2 in my whole life. My friend Cindy was asking, what is the benefit of doing this course and what's the validity period? The purpose of having the CTP is to master your treasury knowledge. We can go for the AFP website, and we can go for more CTP. What is this credential about? The CTP is called, look at this, Achieve the Global Standard of Excellence in Treasury. So by holding CTP beside your name, that's mean you are one of the best people who understand the complexity of corporate treasury, because CTP is the designation that set the standard in treasury profession, and the AFP call it the symbol of excellence. So for recruiters, that validates that you are good to do the job when it comes to corporate treasury. I'm opening the floor if others would like to ask about this. Yes, Sandeep also have a question about the validity period. The CTP as a credential is valid for your whole life, but there is what we call it recertification cycle. The recertification cycle is a 3-year. Simply, the AFP would like to keep the prestige of the CTP holder are up to date. So the AFP are encouraging you to maintain 360 hours per 3 year as a continuous learning credit. All what you need to maintain your CTP credential is to prove that you are continuously learning about finance. So if you attend a webinar, get a course, or even being a member of other association, that will help you to earn a credit. Promoted in your job, moving to a higher title, all of this help you to gain the 360 point during 3 years. All right, what happened if I did not succeed to gain the 360 credit hours? There is a tons of webinars held by the AFP that help you to be updated with the most recent changes about the Treasury. Attending this free webinar will help you to gain the 360 30 and 6 points. It's 36 learning point. And the AFP is allow you also a chance of another 3 years to maintain your credentials. So it's like a 6-year period. So I cannot call it valid, but the AFP is just encouraging you to keep yourself in a continuous learning cycles. Yahya is asking how long it takes to understand the material and to be ready for the exam. The answer will be infinite, Yahya, because it's different from a person to another. But the average is to save like 6 months and invest like a 2 hour per day for reading to be ready to set to the exam. But it depends on your speed of reading. My humble recommendation will be to invest like 1 hour to 2 hours per day for like 5 or 6 months. That will be sufficient to pass from the first attempt. Another question, are the other platform to buy question you can recommend? There is no worldwide a solution to prepare yourself for the exam except the AFP one. There is another Indian website. I got it long time back, which is for a very cheap fund, which is $100. I will show it to you. It is not related to the real exam by any means. It's called TM exam, and it is a trash. The AFP, blah, 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 flashcards. Look at this. TM exam is not affiliated with AFP or any other company. So this gentleman is a very clever Indian. I know him, by the way. And we talked like a couple of times, and he just developed question by himself. So this is not related to the CTP exam, and I do not advise to get it. It's once more, it's suck and it's cheap. It's not pricey. It's the AFP platform is more relative to the exam because it's designed by the academic and practitioner committee that set the exam itself. And the AFP statistical says that the EPP user have a 24% higher chance to pass the exam. And I can assure and validate this information because I spent the last 17 years using this platform. Until 2020, it was a set of books, but starting from 2020, the AFP prevent to print a book and turn it to a digital platform. I can show you the book, how it was looking like. It's called AFP Learn, and it's suspended since maybe its 5th edition. Look at this one. This is how it looks alike. It's like a group of books. That's it. Can you see this? But starting from 2020, the AFP suspended issuing this, what we call it, this product and digitalize it to a platform. I have another question. Does Beacon offer any discount on total tuition fees? Yes, of course. Beacon is an exclusive franchise for the AFP. Our name is AFP Middle East and Africa, so we are the AFP between 71 countries, any Arabic-speaking country, whole Africa, Middle East, and of course Turkey. You can get back to the sales team to discuss bundle discount. And by the way, the discount is Actually, it's not from us, it's from the AFP, because they understand that the Middle East is an emerging market and we are unable to pay the original price, which is a little bit pricey for the Middle East people. Any basic knowledge is needed before starting CTP? No, Zainab, my friend, no, you don't need to have any basic reading. And I just advise you to make sure you at least have a 2 years of experience in finance field, banking, accounting, cash management, whatever. But I would prefer to have like a 2 years of finance exposure. That will help a lot during the course. Is it famous like CFA? Also, I don't have, I didn't see CTP in job requirement. Well, I have something that I can show you here from LinkedIn. How about writing CTP and filter for people and filter for location? What location you would like to search? If I would like to search maybe Egypt, we have a 626 people CTP. Reem Ali, Galaxy Siemens, which is the very pharmaceutical company, Group Treasury Head. Marwan Rafi, CTP in progress, Relationship Manager. And we have a lot. Marwan Abid, Managing Director for Small Medium Enterprise. Mohammed Shukr, Group Treasury Investment Director. Tu'a Khalid, Associate Vice President Treasury. Mustafa Sami, Treasury Analyst Tax. It's a lot. Well, Carlos Bodos, CPA, CTP. I have a lot here, actually. Iman Kaptan, which is my friend, Group Corporate Finance Treasury Senior Manager. So I think it's relative Group Head of Treasury. It's not about comparing the certification to each other. For example, if you are selecting between CTP and CFA, this question is, people is asking me this question like every morning. All globally recognized certification are so good to go for. It's all good, but it depends on your personal plan. If you would like to be a master when it comes to investment, please go for the CFA and do not compare the CFA to any investment certification ever. If you would like to be a master of a managerial accounting, go for the CMA. If you would like to be a superhero and FP&A, which is financial planning analysis, go for the FPAC. And if you would like to be a good treasurer, go for the CTP, because the comparison between certification is not relevant. It's not applicable. Each certification is focused and driven with a specific branch of finance. So being famous or not, does not help, because simply I don't care if you are going to be my treasury manager and you have a CFA, because you don't have the chance to apply like 90% of its content while you are my treasurer. But if you are my investment director, I would love to have a CFA beside your name. So it's all about relevancy. Is it relevant or not? That's the first advice. The second one is that when you are selecting or trying to build a learning path, there is a two theory here. The theory that I would prefer to keep yourself a master of a specific finance field, because the jack of all trades are a master of none. If you are the one who study love courses like CTP, CMA, CFA, CPA, it ends up you know a sum about the finance, but you are not a master in a specific branch of finance. For mine, my personal humble selection, I got the CTP, I got an ECI dealing certificate, that's a treasury certificate for dealing rooms, and of course, I got the EMCT, which is International Diploma for Corporate Treasury. So I'm centric to the treasury field. If your objective is about treasury, I encourage you to go for it. If you would like to change your pathway from treasury to other certification, so you have to consider others. Sandeep is asking, what's the course fee? I'm not speaking, I'm not the right person to ask him commercially. Please go back for the sales team. I was pleased and I was very happy to be with you during this course, and I hope I did cover your question, and wishing you all the best with a very bright success. Thank you so much. Looking forward to welcoming you in person in our course. Bye-bye.